what's up guys? I'm Steve Wells and today I am bringing you yet another Hoka review. I promise the next one will be something different. I don't know what it'll be, but definitely something different. But this one is the Hoka One One Mach 4. So this shoe is kind of an interesting one because the version 1, which I feel like is very similar to the version 5, was a really good shoe. This was my girlfriend Katie's go-to long run shoe. She actually still has 2 pairs of these Mach 1s that she will wear on occasion, but the version 2 was not so great. The version 3, I don't even remember what it looks like because I didn't like the version 2 and I didn't even pay attention to the 3. Maybe it was awesome, but I don't think so. And then the version 4, I feel like they brought it back around to be a lot more similar to the version 1, which in my opinion is a very good thing. So if you're looking for the tech specs of this shoe, check out the description. I'm not going to be going over it here to save a little bit of time, but we will talk about in my size 11.5, this shoe weighs 9.1 ounces. So not crazy lightweight, but also not super heavy either. If we compare it to something like the Rincon 8.9, so Rincon is a tiny bit lighter, but nothing too insane. And then if we compare it to the Clifton, 11.6 ounces. So it is going to be kind of in between those two, fairly significantly lighter than the Clifton. So if you were looking for something kind of similar to the Clifton but a little bit lighter, a little bit faster, similar kind of cushioning, this guy might be something to check out. So we'll get into some pros and cons about this shoe, but before we do, be sure to head down to the description, click the link to my Patreon down there. That's the best way to help me out, help out the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe as well to help keep me doing what I'm doing. But let's talk about some pros with the Mach 4. So obviously it is a Hoka, so their midsole is what they're known for. I do really like the midsole of this shoe. While it isn't perfect, which I will get into in the cons, just being comfortable, it does a really good job at. In terms of being fast, not necessarily, but if you're just looking for something that is comfortable, this shoe does a really good job at that. It feels like it is fast enough that you could do faster workouts, maybe even race in it, but is cushioned enough that you could definitely do your longer runs, you could do marathons in it and not be worried about not having enough cushion for that type of thing. I also do like the tongue of this shoe. For being a lightweight shoe, I feel like they did a really good job with this. A lot of these kind of lighter weight shoes, it's a super thin tongue, which tends to bother me because then I start to feel the laces on the top of my foot and that kind of thing. This one is more of a gusseted tongue, so it connects down on the sides with that like stretchy material in there, more similar to the tongue in the Arahi 5, which we talked about in a previous video, but it is going to be a little bit thinner to save a little bit of weight there as well. The upper material I like as well. It is a little bit thicker of a mesh than you tend to see in these kind of trying to be lighter weight, faster shoes. When comparing it to something like the Endorphin Speed or something like that, it is going to have a little bit thicker of a mesh, which I do like, just kind of gives you a more kind of substantial feel to the shoe when it's on your foot. I also do like the rocker that's incorporated in this shoe. It's not too much like some of the Asics rocker shoes, the previous versions of the New Balance More, something like that. It's not going to be like you're wearing a rocking chair on your foot, but it is going to help transition you a little bit more. This is a little bit more flexible of a shoe than some of Hoka's other shoes. So if we compare it to like the Clifton or the Arahi, this shoe is going to be more flexible, so that rocker isn't quite as necessary in my opinion. as with those other shoes, but this shoe does a really good job with it. My next pro is the heel counter here. So like I talked about in my Arahi video, I do like this new heel counter that Hoka is working with here. It doesn't come up as high as something like the Clifton, which I was having problems with, and is a little bit less pointy and that kind of thing. It does help to kind of be able to grab on that when you're putting on the shoe. This is more similar to something like the Pegasus, which I did like this kind of heel counter in. Fit wise, other than kind of the shape of the shoe, which I'll get into a little bit, I did feel like it worked pretty well for me. I didn't feel like I was sliding around in there or anything like that. I actually felt like I had enough room for my toes out here, which is something that I can't say about every Hoka shoe. I actually didn't even end up doing a heel lock in this one because I didn't feel like my heel was sliding or anything like that, which I actually tend to do in a lot of Hoka shoes. And last, you might disagree with me on this. I could definitely see someone disagreeing with me on this, but I think it looks pretty cool. I actually like the kind of notched out butt cheeks or whatever you call it on this, and I like these colors. While mine have gotten pretty dirty pretty quick, I think it's kind of a good balance of bright colors and not for this type of shoe that you're going to be wearing to make you feel a little bit faster. So that does it for pros. Now let's get into some cons, and I definitely did have some with this shoe. So as if you've ever seen any of my Hoka videos, the fit, while I did say I actually had enough room in the toe box in this shoe, I didn't feel like my little toe was being crushed over like I do in some of Hoka's other shoes. I did still feel like it was too curved of a shape, not enough room through the midfoot for me. It was squishing the outside of my foot. That led to some discomfort. I had to like keep stopping to loosen up the laces, trying to get them looser. That lateral side of my foot almost feeling like kind of numb and tingly if that was a little bit too tight, which is definitely a problem. Also had the problem of my arch kind of getting pressed up by this kind of wall that comes up along the medial side of the shoe. While it wasn't as big of an issue as I have in something like the Clifton, it still definitely was there. My next con, I talked about the midsole and how it is comfortable, but I think for a go fast shoe, which I think this is meant to be, it really isn't there. If you're comparing this to something like the Fuel Cell Rebel or the Endorphin Speed, you're not going to get that same poppy kind of explosive feeling out of this midsole as you are out of the others. You definitely are going to get more squishiness and more comfort. So I would compare this cushioning more to the Clifton than I would to some of those other kind of go fast shoes that I was talking about a second ago. And my last con is the expected durability of this shoe. So with no rubber on the outsole, I wouldn't expect to get maybe 300 max miles out of this shoe. This is a pair of Katie's Mach 1s that she has been running in for 250 miles maybe, and she's starting to feel like these are pretty darn worn out. And this one, you can probably expect the same type of durability out of it. And that type of durability isn't a huge deal if you're looking at something like the Rincon, which is $115. When it comes to comparing these two shoes, it almost doesn't make the sense for the Mach to even be here. That's not to say that I don't like some aspects of the shoe, because I definitely do, but in my opinion, if you're going to be getting a kind of faster tempo day shoe that you can also wear for longer runs possibly if you want to, you're better off going with the Rincon, because I would say you're probably going to get more durability out of it. While it is a different type of foam, I know you're probably going to get kind of similar amount of miles out of these two shoes, and the Rincon is also much cheaper than the Mach is. The Rincon also, in my opinion, feels a little bit faster, a little bit kind of more poppy and lively than the Mach does. So I hate to say it, but I'm probably not going to keep wearing the Mach. While I think that it is probably a good shoe that will work for some people, if you like the feel of the Clifton, if you really like the feel of the Clifton and you want something a little bit lighter and a little bit faster, this would probably be something to look at. But I would be going with the Rincon as my kind of go-to shoe to wear for that type of thing from Hoka's lineup before I would go with the Mach. But I hope this review of the Hoka One One Mach 4 was helpful. If it was, be sure to like and subscribe down below. Leave any questions you've got for me down in the comments. Check out the link to my Patreon down in the description, and I will talk to you guys next week.